Hi, my friends and family. Today I've got a talk for you called the Checkerboard, Assimilation, and Human Liberation. What is the checkerboard matrix or checkerboard mutation? This is Lisa Renee's term for our junior gods playing field or human loosh farms, chessboard floor, and of course, if we don't watch out, every click, every decision is always assimilated into the checkerboard mutation. In the white room with black curtains, in her dark eyes, so much horse crap that you were surely forced at gunpoint to obey. So wait in this place where the sun burns the lies all down, and fly through this room where the shadows run from themselves. The checkerboard assimilation and human liberation. That's right, the dark side has been amazingly talented at infiltration or even creating controlled opposition groups and fake-ass rebellions. This is one of their favorite tricks. What is the checkerboard matrix or checkerboard mutation? Well, this is Lisa Renee's term for our junior gods, as I call them, playing field or human loosh farms, chessboard floor. The guy I was named after was a 33-degree Freemason. Okay, I'm from a Freemason family. In the Freemasonry rituals, there are the two pillars. Interestingly, without being connected to a ceiling, represent two different principles of, Thanatos and life, and then we have a checkerboard floor. So this is their symbol of duality. The ancient Taoists used a beautiful yin-yang symbol, and I also have to note here that, when they walk the red carpet in Hollywood, why is it a red carpet? Well, the red represents the blood of the Goyim that they walked on to become movie stars in the synagogue of Satan. So the Taoists back in the day I don't know how long ago that was, hundreds of thousands of years ago, millions of years ago perhaps. The ancient Taoists, when noticing the duality inherent in nature, such as day and night, male and female, shadow and light, they created the lovely yin-yang symbol to denote the remarkable balance of opposites in nature. Then they devised conceptual ways to divinize these aspects, a holistic attitude of reverence toward the great oneness in all things. After being ordained a Presbyterian at age 15, beginning castaneda at 16, the Tao Te Ching was the first Eastern book I read when I was about 18 years old, and I think it really teaches you how to be a good king or queen. In the old ways, it says keep people's bellies full and then leave them alone, basically. And then they said that the space in a room is what gives it power. The empty space in a room is what gives it power. This is a very interesting facet of the slow, gradual takeover of planet Earth through the cube tech. The space of rooms, the space of mansions, the space of castles, being more important than the blood of human lives, for example. So anyway, the Taoists created this beautiful symbol we call the yin-yang, the created the lovely yin-yang to denote these natural balances of the opposites. Then they devised conceptual ways to divinize these. A holistic attitude of reverence toward the great oneness in all things, by acknowledging an acceptance of the opposites in duality as a prerequisite for perfect acceptance of the actual original planetary and human queendoms, as I call them. The Freemason checkerboard is a modern version of this, I suppose, attempting to bring the symbol of duality, black and white or yin and yang, into the modern world of boxes, rent, and mortgages and houses. Of course, this is all connected to the Saturn Moon matrix, going back to the Anunnaki and the history I've already the history I've already outlined on that. Again, as I only have a basic elementary understanding of it, that's all I have to share. So, to bring the symbol of duality into the modern world of boxes, rent, mortgages, houses, cars, and boardrooms, what's wrong with that? Well, it is an inversion of the truth, like most of our modern traditions, and more obviously, it is a square. What is wrong with it? Well, the whole thing is rotten. Again, if you look at the pyramid structures of Babylon, of Lucifer, of the Illuminati, the capitalist money machine, it's an inverted relationship to morality. I was just thinking about this the other day, because Mark Passio always says there's a direct relationship with human morality and human freedoms. In other words, the more moral humans are, the more free they will become. Whereas the obvious thing also is that in the old world, or in the satanic world order, the more money and power a person has, as I've said before, the less freedom they have, and the more violence or mental abuse or slavery they will cause. The majority of cases, majority of times, the more monopolies are allowed, the more the 1% criminal robber baron class are allowed to flex their black wings, the less moral the world is, the more morally and spiritually retarded or enslaved and all that we become, and the inversion of morality. So, you know, I would venture to say that if any politician or rabbi, priest, or Christian minister has any authority at all in the real divine original creator, they would probably be more moral than the average person, right? Well, they're not. It's the opposite. So what does that tell you? It's an inversion. The mainstream world, the matrix, is an inverted satanic cult, and everyone knows it now. I could say it right here on YouTube, and because it's a known fact. And we're in the phase of the mainstreaming of Satanism, where I have to deal with my bloodkins, young single digits and teenagers here who have been trained to be immoral and not give a fuck about anyone but themselves, and I just have to either help them out of it or accept it, because they certainly show no interest in being helped out of it. So think about it. Our planet and these human bodies are not cubes. So the idea that these cubes can actually have and take it all, as powerful as they are, as much as they've proven through the planet Saturn and the moon, and through all the boxes, through Amazon.com, how powerful the box is. Yes, they've proven it to be extremely powerful, but it's not a conscious power. It's only a one-dimensional power, two-dimensional or three-dimensional power. It doesn't really think about all the different shapes in nature that cannot fit into the box, so they don't get to be monetized. They don't get to exist in this 3D paradigm, according to whoever isn't put themselves, again, our self-appointed officials of the world who never got elected, the masters of materialism, such as Mr. BG. So the whole thing is rotten. Okay, just look at the roots. Look at who's in charge. Look at the intention of the corporation or the individual. Look at the money. Where's the money going? Where's it from? Where is it going? And you can see that a lot of these structures are rotten, and that's why they're going to fall apart in the next couple of years, because in the age of truth, the age of Aquarius is the age of awareness of the truth. They can't hold. So you better get another job if you work for these rotten structures, you know. And the yin yang is a beautiful symbol of a hierogamic union, a divine tantric embrace. In other words, it could be the checkerboard mutation is a hologramic overlay on the ground of unexamined human life that goes along to get along with the black magic cube tech of planetary reversal. In other words, a controlled program of the Saturn Moon Matrix, soul-sucking memory wipe, forced reincarnation system. A reminder to all those who were in the Freemason Club that, you know, the Archons and the Demiurge and Lucifer have it all under control. The earth, the egg, the breasts of a human or animal, other animal, the human head, the buttocks, they're all round. Because the world is round, it turns me on. Real living things begin with round shapes. Eggs, for example. Cubes and squares. While nearly infinitely valuable to the false, strictly three-dimensional imposed matrix reality, because they can be stacked, multiplied, built into skyscrapers, programmed into human brains to make them think obedience to the cube, paying for the rent is all that matters, is the sole reason for existence. Having a hexagram on the end of planet Saturn makes it that believable to so many ignorant financial slaves. As a dumbed-down 3D slave, they can still convince folks to stay in line. Keep in the rut of the cube, you know, with the threat, of coercive threat of what's going to happen to you if you're homeless, for example. Remain wage slaves as long as humans buy into it. The same junior gods that force some rabbis to strap a little black cube over their third eye also make Muslims circle around Mecca, a big black cube. Big enough for, as I've said in my video series on that, you know, Lucifer, or, you know, the Anunnaki Elohim themselves, in my opinion, to actually stand up comfortably, possibly comfortably, lay down or stand up inside the room, or drink a few humans down inside the room. It's a big black cube about, I don't know, 15 foot tall or so. When studying these traditions, just like in Freemasonry, we discover the real source of the lies and mutations. For example, the saying, "It's all good, it's all good." The jealous God, the forced insistence of, as much as possible, all humans must reside only in cube structures. Take, for example, the place I'm staying here now, visiting my sibling here. I mean, where is the nearest yurt or teepee in this neighborhood? I don't think there is a single one. And it's a city. It's 2024. Where are our dome villages, man? Isn't it supposed to be, aren't we supposed to have like hover cars and dome villages by now? Again, one of the chief top 5 main reasons why I make videos, because I'm sick and tired of our fake ass transportation system from 1895 or 1923 or whenever it's from. I'm ready for my hover car. I'm ready for my 0-point hover car. But perhaps I have to learn how to follow Geraldine Orozco better and attain 0-point awareness first. Because as long as I'm fighting, they're liable to fight me over it. So, but again, it is only because of the sheer thuggery and tomfoolery of the dark aliens and their 1% criminal robber barons, their hierarchical system of financial slavery, and their vampiric need for human loot and blood and energy, that we don't already have hover cars, and we don't already have if we were going to have a socialist system that just took care of all our needs, then, you know, it wouldn't involve forcing the impoverished to suffer. My old friend Brian Smythe told me once, cubes suck energetically. I was talking about we were going to clean out his rental, and I was saying I'd rather live in a dome. He said cubes suck energetically. Exactly. They are also structures that are only yang or masculine, you know? As if, you know, obviously the archons, the negative aliens attempt to masculinize, to destroy the divine feminine. And, you know, well, they decided more recently in the last couple centuries to really feminize, to demasculinize, emasculate men and try to make women think they want to be aggressive men, because they're sick, inverted, soulless, vampiric, completely emotionally and spiritually retarded structures are all patriarchies, you know. None of them, they have no respect for the divine goddess. And I'm here in a wounded male form telling you, you know, that the divine goddess is the real original creator. So there it is. Because you know, I learned, I like, as I've said many times, I noticed it intuitively as a little boy in single digits. That, you know, usually what they told me in second grade was the exact opposite of what they told me in Presbyterian Sunday school on Sundays. And I thought to myself as an 8-year-old philosopher, I wonder why I'm forced to go to school 8 hours a day and they tell me all this stuff to make me afraid. And it's exactly the opposite of what they told me that Jesus taught. I wonder why. I'm also very fortunate that I was born in 1977 when we had, you know, Desilu Studios, the Andy Griffith Show, gave way to shows such as Taxi with writers such as James L. Brooks and Sam Simon, who actually imbued Jewish guys who actually imbued morality and thinking into sitcoms. Imagine that. Imagine that. Okay? Morality on television. I'm lucky. I was from the last era where they put morality at all on television. So, you know, when you see that you're forced into structures that are only yang, and you walk out and you notice the curve, you know, flat earthers are complete morons because you can see it from some angles that the earth is round, right? You can see the curvature of nature, and you go, religion's bullshit, right? So the demiurge copied the divine feminine symbol of sacred dual union or hierogamy and inverted it into a square. Lame, right? So basically, what I'm saying is that the demiurge or Lucifer or whatever name you want to put on this being that lost their soul, they took the sacred yin-yang and then they said, okay, well, since we're going to control everything with cubes, they made it this checkerboard floor. They made it and inverted it into a square, lame, purely masculine, hard, disrespectful, violence-based, you know, because they stole all the land to, you know, to create the conquistador, the California missions, for example, you know, like killing sprees. So a violence-based line or square division. We have to accept natural duality. We have to accept the sacred masculine. We have to accept the parts of our masculinity that are in harmony with the beauty and the divinity of the divine feminine. And that's the protector, right? That's what my video series is all about. That's why Mohan and now, unfortunately, Jeremy Kaufman and Chandra and you know, and the Rumble and Peter Thiel, they have to, you know, to downgrade or, you know, put me on the shadow ban or you know, make sure that I don't get that support, because I'm saying the things they don't want you to hear, which is that patriarchy is garbage, shit, filth. About 96% of it. Maybe there's some patriarchies, like in the Buddhist traditions, that have some value, but I doubt it, because as soon as a man's in charge, what happens? Narcissism, you know. Not to say that men are all narcissists, but it's only due to the fake-ass women's elimination movement that the amount of narcissists are becoming women, equally balanced now. So we have to accept natural duality, not the matrix inversion of it. The cube tech or square version of black and white thinking keeps us stuck in the us and them duality. Winners and losers, masters and slaves, freed lords and permanent indentured servants, prisoners. All based on who is going to dominate, right? The whole fucking thing, ever since the idea of a king existed, is all based on who's willing to kill the most people to dominate. Well, that's not a real queendom or kingdom. It's fake. That's why we call the archons FKOT, the false kings of tyranny. Okay, because it's all based on violence and who's going to dominate and win the chess match or checkers game. Never mind the overt power differential. Never mind that if I had bought property or had a house in my 20s or 30s, I might have been offered grand power in the Freemason Club, but since I was in a tent, I'm considered somebody who doesn't deserve to have my whole YouTube audience. Racism is not human. Humans were not racist until the dark ETs, who are very patriarchal and violent, brought the sickness of racism here to this planet. Okay? And you know what? And they weren't racist, even though it was still an amazing variety of human forms and species hybridized from all kinds of different ETs, both good and evil. Or at least before the evil ones began to dominate, we were not racist. Okay? Humans were not racist until the dark ETs, who were very patriarchal and violent, brought that sickness here. The chosen ones are the most racist of all when they're orthodox, because racism is not human nature, and they develop Stockholm Syndrome, as Cliff High has said, over thousands of years of trauma bonding with their sick, narcissistic, Anunnaki Elohim programmers. Hello. I was just thinking about, did Moses have horns? I don't know. The only humans who are better off are the only chosen, the ones who are really better off, who are fit to lead this flock of sick, diseased sheep and cattle and prison wardens, are the humans who see how filthy and ridiculously anti-life classism and racism actually are. Those people can help lead humanity. But every narcissist psychopath, every racist, every classist, every person who gets caught up in those traps, they're not fit to lead anyone, man. You'd think I'd be grateful for the chance to use my high IQ and white Freemason family background to rule over humanity, but only if you are a fucking idiot moron who really cannot think or discern. Similarly, all the efforts I've placed here are worth zilch to those with narcissistic predator entity control or fully 3D controlled matrix victims. They don't want to learn, they don't want to face themselves, they don't want to do the shadow work. And this includes some of the CIA and executives of YouTube, Odyssey, and Rumble, and my bloodkins. They don't want to do the shadow work, they don't want to face themselves, they don't want to think of me as a professional, because that would threaten their fake ass, inverted, sick ideology, you see. And so that's why I'm going to have to learn how to program, get my own website and program and do all the special effects myself. Because, dude, I'm not paying you $250 a month to get me 500 Rumble subscribers. So quit emailing me, okay? Quit. I already told you. Leave me alone. Quit emailing me. I'm not here to to pay you to get me views, okay? That's like, I'm going to have to learn, I'm so I'm so 0 point bent on DIY, even to my own detriment, okay? Because I'm not here to play into somebody's fantasy of making a living off me, okay? I'm here to share the healing wisdom. I'm here to put the truth in the public's hands where it belongs, okay? For all secret societies, all governments, and all hierarchies who seek to and have ruled over others are really losers and cowards when it comes to ascension or self-discipline, self-respect, and love. For unlike the yin-yang fitting into the checkerboard, separation, the checkerboard assimilation, the winner takes all, the Illuminati into every clique, and the controlled opposition constantly manipulated by the Dark Lords. For unlike the yin-yang fitting into the checkerboard, separation and division become the law. The white cube is not allowed to be pure, good, and free. The acceptance of war, slavery, child rape, and sacrifice is inherent in acceptance of our black square, black cube. For our God demands the black cube God. The Elohim demand blood sacrifice. When the future reality necessitates, because this planet is going to ascend whether we ascend with it or not, the junior gods, the demiurge, Yaldabaoth, the Anunnaki, Lucifer, or the Elohim, or whatever you want to name you want to give them, probably must be starved of human blood and loosh for humanity to ever get its own ability to even be born as a species that can overcome the forced amnesia of the Saturn Moon Matrix memory wipe permanent human recycling farm program. I did not want to make this video. Why? I was taking a break. Yeah, I was in some astrological combinations where I just wanted to relax and play. But you know what? When certain forces go out of their way to make sure I have 0 views on a certain platform, and I'm still not really confident that my shadow ban has been taken off YouTube. Even as somebody as talented as Pablo from Meditation Amsterdam will admit, and several of the other people I watch will admit, that it motivates them to make more videos when you like and subscribe and make a comment, etc. Now, is that just their 3D, their ego? Sure. Or the little self? Sure. However, having that taken away, especially from somebody who has had depression since 14, Mr. Essay since 19, and cancer, and accident, and all the trauma I've been through, and the CNPD family, and the Dark Lords that work within these monopolistic platforms. They love to withhold my audience. They love to delete my comments so that I don't have a conversation and I don't wake up many people, because that's how pathetic they are. Okay? Now, do I take that personally? No. I just take that as a omen that I must have been doing my best, because when you do your best, the archons want to attack you harder. When you do your best to awaken people. But there's shit filth for emotions, and shit filth for discernment, and shit filth when it comes to self-respect. So why do they get to rule over the majority of humankind? Because they're not using their discernment. They're not using their self-respect. Okay? And it's discouraging when I see that, and I have to live around the shit and live around people that know I make 400 and something videos, but they don't care, because they don't care about this topic. So again, it's obvious, it's like as soon as I agreed to reincarnate, it's going to be these people, right? Well, that's why I don't believe in reincarnation, because the checkerboard mutation has been cast over the internet as well, obviously, since DARPA and the CIA were involved in making it, and they gave us cell phones and the internet roughly 110 years after Nikola Tesla presented it to the World's Fair. And I wonder why they had to wait over a century and 10 years, huh? Pretty fucking obvious why, folks. How could I make almost 500 videos about the truth with no financial or social recompensation? And if anybody putting money in my Buy Me a Coffee page, then it was just stolen. And if anybody put any money in my PayPal, then Peter Thiel just took it out, because he doesn't want me to think that this is helping anyone, even though he's got to pretend like he's all about freedom. How ironic is that? Okay? I'm not saying that's the truth, but there's a possibility that that's not a crazy thought. Okay? With no financial or social recompensation, the fake results of almost no comments. Oh yeah, 480 videos and 9 comments on YouTube. My butthole has never had a parasite near it. And seeming to have to fight to get 100 YouTube subscribers, and even worse, they all of a sudden, all out of nowhere, they changed their policy, which used to be, if you have 100 subscribers, you can have your own URL, to now you're not allowed to have your own URL until they decide. Financial reductionism in a capitalist society creeps into every brain it possibly can, in every possible situation, and says, you are only as valuable as your financial earnings. And it also attempts to create moral relativity on this. Well, you have, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and you have to earn your money not to die. And it doesn't matter what you do to get the money. How fucking dumb can you be? This shallow 3D belief was carefully placed online when they created the internet, so that only those who know how to operate the, levers of the platforms with panache, style, and self-censoring gatekeepers can succeed, unless they have agents who run them, like this guy that wants me to pay him $250 for 500 subs. In other words, not knowing the language, they attempted to make me into a volunteer, where no one's going to make any money off this except Russians, possibly, that I'll never meet. Giving valuable wisdom to a forced to remain tiny audience in a competitive, controlled environment. In other words, the internet was made to be just as much of a fake Truman Show style matrix as the normies' 3D wage slavery existence, or almost as bad as mainstream media. Whereas often, to accurately perceive the truth, the checkerboard has to be burned to ashes in the alchemical mind fire of awakening. In other words, if you really want to perceive the truth of this planet and your life, and it often seems to me that you have to burn down the checkerboard under your feet, conceptually, in your shadow work. Note in three-dimensional reality and online, monopolies are an open omen of the false kings of tyranny, or what we call archons, archontic control, or false authority. As I've said before, and I believe that year 1890 they passed the law, the Sherman Antitrust Act, and within a decade Rockefeller had figured out how to overturn it fully. And so what I believe is, or what I be truth, is that as a species, especially in USA, pretty soon we're going to have to reject the monopolies, because the monopolies, the 1% criminal robber barons, obviously want this to be a much tighter prison than just a wage slave factory, or a loose factory. They want a full prison, So, yet whether or not I figure out how to operate these hijacked, broken, monopoly-loving, inverted systems, I will never give up. I will never give up on awakening everyone who can hear me, who's willing to wake up to Christ awareness to the earth. I will never give up. I will keep bringing up Christ awareness to earth. I am the exact opposite of a narcissist, while still having to break out of a covert or collapsed narcissist family system. The CNPD family and the deep state system must pretend that these 400, almost 500 videos series is nothing, as what I tell you on these videos threatens their fake control, both subconsciously, emotionally, and exterior. Because I'm going to tell you, they're fakes, okay? And that's why this can never be popular. Yes, I have suffered greatly from MRSA, cancer, and actually being a discerning person in a psychological death-based cult called the USA, or modern pseudo-life, or what I call the Matrix prison farm. Yet disability was an entrance, having a severe skin disease that came about from a blood disease gave me the food, money, and the time to study, a back door into the alchemical healing chamber of the rechristening or regrowing of the wings, to remember, to reclaim my gifts and give them out freely as a divine human being. You know, no matter what these spiritual morons who control the majority have to say about it, because I'm teaching, and ideally I'm in harmlessness. I'm not here to harm people. I'm not that fucking dumb if I'm being myself. The era of, the era of accepting the unacceptable, 2020. And what should you accept? What are you forced to accept? Check my video. Check my video about the Serenity Prayer, for more ideas on that. The Chiron archetype, or the wounded healer archetype, is extremely painful in some moments. Having lived there in Santa Cruz on my astrocartographical Chiron line for almost over 20 years there, leading up to that accident, or 17 years leading up to the accident. The Chiron archetype is extremely painful in some moments, yet I don't really give a flying rat's ass if YouTube thinks I am a worthy authority. Because they think Nick Avocado is a more worthy of authority, I pretend to use free will. I'm pretending to use free will if I use it in a pretend controlled opposition game. I know I must do my best to help others heal, even whilst I'm still quite wounded myself. That's what the whole Chiron archetype is all about. Until I complete the shadow work, my problems will keep reappearing in different ways. However, it is important to notice we are still in the soul-sucking matrix or human farm with fiat or CBDC. As long as we have to rely on their systems, the squares remain the same. Hierarchies render everyone a loser. Yes, we must accept the divine duality of the yin-yang or sexual embrace, yet recognize this entire game is fucking rigged. The entire false light, Luciferic, checkerboard mutation is a deadly lose-lose game where nobody wins as long as we play by the rules that Lucifer made. Okay? Sam Vaknin, who has degrees in economics as well as psychology, he calls capitalism a zero-sum game. He said that in the United States you have zero social mobility. I found that very interesting idea. So if we don't change it to being respectful, the Luciferic checkerboard mutation is a deadly lose-lose game where nobody wins, because within this cubed hex we are all losers. Wow. I work purely for human awakening until I'm earning from this. So until you, or even if I never do, so until you and I move into the future dwellings of divinely feminine domes or yurts, freed from slavery, we must be in it, but not of it, recognizing the checkerboard for what it is, a false division-based dichotomy, just like people with NPD want to fight all the time over stupid shit. It's designed to physically make you fight all the time over survival, designed to rule over, suck your energy for loose, and steal the souls and lives of all human beings. Control freaks have virtually nothing to do with the future. And considering the checkerboard, and considering our inherited, haunted playing field, the checkerboard mutation, shadow banning is Lucifer's way of saying, I am a spiritual pussy around freedom forever on this platform, or as long as they shadow ban. I'm a spiritual pussy. That's what shadow banning is saying subconsciously. It is very important It is very apparent once again to easily see the archons and Lucifer may have been masters and are masters of three-dimensional and planetary mind control and manipulation, yet those with no self-love or emotional or spiritual discipline try to control others because they are sick and out of control, most of them emotional vampires themselves. Perhaps Lucifer is the sickest and most pathetically, emotionally lonely creating, the loneliest being of all. That's why my little jam is my little my little thing is called Lucifer's the Lonely Boy, creating endless wars and suffering for a permanent loose strip system. Yet those with true discernment and spiritual and emotional discipline can be in Christ, even while forced to be a box slave or on the job temporarily as they are and not change the external world, mentally earthing the entire duration. In other words, just like this new pseudoscience, newfound thing that